So the new Memory of Chaos just came out, and people have been saying that it's really difficult, if you don't have a dedicated DOT team. But there's actually a way to cheese this. Basically, you just want to take advantage of the memory turbulence. So I'm going to show you a strategy so you can get your 20 cycles and get your stellar dates. So for the first half, I'm just using a standard Doctor Ratio team. If you don't have Doctor Ratio upgraded, then just use any team that's suitable against Yanqing. Now the most difficult part that people are saying about this Memory Chaos is just how tanky Sam is. That does make sense, but I'm going to show you that you don't need any super broken 5-star Harmony character or anything like that. You just need a sustain character and maybe a Nihility debuffer. As you can see, this team right here, especially Blade, is not good against Sam, but I'm going to show you that you can 20 cycle it anyway. So the general idea of the first node is essentially the same thing as the previous Memory of Chaos. You deal with the big horse and the Sanctus Medicus guy. But when you're using Doctor Ratio in this specific case, there's something important that you have to do in order to make sure that you can manage your cycles efficiently. So first you want to buff up all your teams, get your setup. The important thing here is to make sure that Doctor Ratio can one-shot these Warp Trotters. So right here, you actually want to go for this Warp Trotter. It helps if you have a Nihility debuffer because you can 100% chance use your follow-up attack. If you don't, you can restart, but essentially you just want to kill this Warp Trotter. As you can see there, it applied DOT to these two enemies here. And then now you just want to clear it as normal. Go for the Sanctus Medicus guy first because this guy heals. You want to make sure he dies as soon as possible. So here you just want to make sure your Doctor Ratio can hit this guy. If you don't have Pela, it's okay. You can use another Nihility debuffer. As long as this guy just doesn't heal up, you should be good to go. So here in this specific case, the Sanctus Medicus guy is dead. So we're just going to move on to the next cycle here. So same thing as last time, you want to go for the Warp Trotter. And pretty much just try to keep your team alive. I'm going to use a skill here on Tingyun just so I can get Dance and Stance up. So what happens now is, again, DOT gets applied, and we're going to finish this within one cycle. So we're still on the 29th cycle, and we're already fighting Yanqing. So same thing, go for the Warp Trotter, make sure your Doctor Ratio can one-shot it, if possible. If you clear this in 3 cycles, that's really good. If you have to take 4 cycles, it's also fine. Just as long as you have enough cycles. I would say 4 cycles, you should take it. If not, then go for the 3 if possible. But I think 5 is a little bit too slow because having 1 extra layer for Sam just in case can be a little bit helpful. So this Warp Trotter doesn't really matter anymore. I'm just going to go for Yanqing. He's already below half HP, so I might as well just try to kill him as soon as possible. Ignore the Warp Trotter. I think it's important to know when you should ignore the Warp Trotter or not. In this case, you should. Because if you waste a skill on it, it's probably not going to do anything. So you might as well just try to kill Yanqing as soon as possible. So as you can see here, 27 cycles. If you could do it in 4 cycles or 5 cycles, I think it's fine. I think 5 you should retry, but try to go for 4. So anyway, here's Sam. Same idea. You just want to go for Warp Trotters and just try to stay alive. Just ignore everything else, go for the Warp Trotter. Even if this TV is going to hit your entire team, it doesn't matter. Just go for this Warp Trotter. So as this thing dies, you can see now the entire enemy lineup has DOT, so that's where your damage is going to come from. So now it's just a matter of staying alive, doing some damage to these guys, and just waiting out the cycles. Let the DOT do the work. If you don't have Silver Wolf, you can use pretty much any hunt character. Anybody who just likes to do a lot of single target damage, so you can just go for these Warp Trotters here. I will say if you're running Hunt though, you want to run Preservation instead of Abundance, because Hunt characters tend to be very easy to kill, so you want to keep them alive. So here, now we're on Sam, right here, with 25 cycles left. So within 5 cycles, as long as you keep killing these Warp Trotters, you're going to be able to kill Sam. You also want to try to make sure you stay alive though, because Sam can actually hurt. Normally, I don't think he's really that threatening, but when he's on Memory Cast 12, he actually does a pretty decent amount of damage. So you just want to be a little bit careful. So here, we're going to go single target on this Warp Trotter. Not like this, but like this. And then we'll just finish it off. DOT. Here, I'm going to start building up some SP, so when Sam casts his big fire thing, I don't know what it's called. You want to try to get as much SP as possible so you can use it and just make him weaker. This thing, Molten Core. If you're running Nihility like Silverwolf, you have to be a little bit careful because she's very squishy. I recommend building defensive stats on her if Sam keeps on one-shotting her. Because I'm using Silverwolf for damage, which is probably not really that helpful in this specific case, but it's fine. As long as you keep her alive. Another Warp Charter spawned. So with Sam's thing reduced, it looks like Silverwolf's not going to die, as long as you have some form of sustain. It could be preservation, it could be abundance, it doesn't really matter, as long as she stays alive. And once Sam takes action again, he's going to take a lot of damage. So yeah, that's pretty much how you deal with Sam. You can see a lot of your damage just comes from the DOTs that you get from killing the Warp Charters. So after a little bit of just whacking him more and more, he dies from the DOT. So this one I cleared it in 21 cycles, but yeah, that's basically the general idea of it. I could have played that a little bit better, but that's essentially the gist of it. So yeah, that's basically the general idea. You just want to go for the Warp Charters while trying to stay alive. That's where most of your damage is going to come from. So you don't need anything fancy like extremely buffed Harmony characters. I don't even own Ranmei or Branyas, and I managed the 20 cycle here. Double destruction, just one Nihility. It's completely fine. For the first half, you just want to make sure you clear it in 4 or 3 cycles if possible, and then just do the strategy here. So yeah, if you find this Memory Chaos pretty difficult, hopefully this will be helpful to you. Let me know how it goes. I'll see you later.